light. No way that you can stop.
As we wait on those 5 red lights.
The more that I control the fight, and now you on the ropes. Now you on the ropes, what you gonna do? Quitting's not an option. That voice in your head that keeps telling you you got this, lied to you. And now everybody's watching. You should've worked a little harder, cause man, your punches are garbage. I dream big, ain't that the point of it? Let's keep it real, huh? Ain't that the point of it? They used to tell me I was nothing, nothing. Now they tell me that I'm something. What's it gonna take for you to understand the concept? I ain't really got no time for all the nonsense. See to you this is a joke, a little project. I guess you'll never understand this kind of mindset.
It's lights out here in Poland, here we go. Oh, he's compromised, he's compromised. Can he do it all the way around the outside? Colin McAllister, what a move! Hello everybody and welcome along to the ISR AIC here at Canada, the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. Toby Byrne commentating for you today solo, as I don't have anybody in the commentary box with me today, so you'll have to put up with this this voice for the foreseeable future, but I'm sure we'll get through it together and we'll have a great time. This is the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, as previously mentioned, and this is the second race after the big AI update that we saw at Snetterton, where the racing was absolutely fantastic. You know, we had cars going 3 wide, we had cars going, you know, side by side in almost every corner, all the way from start to finish, which was really great to see. We had a lot more mistakes being made by drivers under pressure, and it really did bring things together, and it was a really big step in the right direction for the AIC. So as we reach just effectively, we're at midway point now, obviously, we're on race 4 of 7, so we're just over that halfway step now, and we're you know, the ISR team behind the scenes is already working on getting next season's content ready, which we hope to bring some news to you about what we'll be driving, where we'll be driving it, and all that good stuff next season. So teams, if you are watching and you want to have yourself as an AI driver, or your team, or you know, anything like that, or you know someone who does, please get in touch with ISR and we will sort you out and we will get you in this wonderful series for season 2. And that is really all there is to say. So let's go ahead and take a look at how qualifying went. So as we take a look at the qualifying results, then we can see Zach Swader takes pole position with a 1:47.6 dead, ahead of his teammate Danny Diaz with a 1:46.9, 3 times separating the guys. The first ever team in the ISR AIC to secure a 1-2 in qualifying. Let's see if they can carry that through into the race. Charles McBee returns to a podium, potentially up in 3rd place there. Great stuff from him, followed by Gareth Lennon and Colin McAllister, who gets a really good qualifying result. Really good to see him up there, having struggled so far this season yet to score any points. Craig Evans returns to form, back in the top 10 in 6th, followed by Evan Imre and Toby Byrne. Then we see Stephen Paul and Nut Martinson following them. Next we see Ross McFarlane ahead of Laria Campagnari, who both will be hoping to score points. Of course, they are the 2 out of the 3 non-point scorers so far this season, so they'll be hoping to do something about that. Christopher Petterson, his teammate, lines up just behind him, and then there's Josh Martin, followed by Rhino Smell-Galis. Callum Spencer high up in the championship, but low down starting on the grid ahead of Andrew Pavia and Joshua Robert Wood, who for the first time this season qualifies outside of the top 10. Next up is Nicole Foggy, and bringing up the rear of the grid is Douglas Anderson. Here we are then We all know the drill by now, getting ready to go racing around the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, arguably the most prestigious and largest circuit we will be visiting for the first ever season of the ISR AIC, and I really believe we can have some great racing there. You can see the two EQU cars, 1 and 2, the first ever team to ever secure a 1-2 position, and the likes of Colin McAllister and Gareth Lennon just behind them, so they will be hoping to try get these EQU boys off the line as we wait on the start. Tensions building, revs building, and lights out and away we go, and Zach Swader then gets a pretty good start ahead of his teammate. He should have his teammate covered off into turn 1 we go then, and we can see just a bit further back it is Colin McAllister trying to go for a move on Craig McLeod Evans. He's going to try hold it around on the inside, and then you can see Toby Byrne there is coming under a bit of pressure from Stephen Paul in the background, and we can see the Nemesis Online Racing cars attacking Ross McFarlane as well as we head into turn 3 or 4 now. We can see Stephen Paul goes up the inside of Toby Byrne. Is he going to make that move stick? He just does. Great move from Stephen Paul here on lap 1 then, as we can see Toby Byrne trying to go around the outside once more. Not really going to happen for him on that occasion, and we can see Ross McFarlane trying to fight back against Nemesis Online Racing cars. The racing cars really doing a great job to try get him in. Valerio Campagnari sneaks one up the inside of Ross McFarlane. Great job for him. And now we can see a bit further back, that is a Yulon Rotor Racing car, I believe of Andrew Pavia or Douglas Anderson, I can't really see, trying to make some moves a bit further back down the grid. As we look down and things start to calm down a little bit, I can catch my breath, and we see Joshua Robert Wood going side by side into the chicane with Rhinus Melngalis there, and it looks like Melngalis is going to hold onto his position pretty damn well, but he is going to come under pressure again as we come into the hairpin then. Joshua Robert Wood looking to go down the inside of Rhinus Melngalis, laid on the brakes, good stuff, up the inside. That's Douglas Anderson up the inside of Josh Martin as well, and Rhinus Melngalis is up a place, and so is Douglas Anderson. Now Joshua Robert Wood has actually lost that position on the exit then to Rhinus Melngalis. My apologies. Does that mean that Douglas Anderson will have a go? We will not know, because we take a look back at our leaders and we can see after a pretty calm, collected, but hectic in some areas as well, lap 1, we can see Zach Swader still has a very, very nice lead indeed over his teammate, and that's what we're wanting to see. I hope they can go line of stern, but not going line of stern is back there. Is that Stephen Paul making a move again on a Force Physicar as Valerio Campagnari comes from an awful long way back to try and make a move on that Force Physicar, and now we'll try and go up the inside into turn 2. Is the Italian going to make the move on the Norwegian? We will find out as we run into turn 3 then. Heavy on the brakes, Valerio Campagnari, the number 92 car, goes up the inside of the number 9. Sorry, I've got numbers all over the place here. But as we take a look, it is 92 and 62 then, going side by side. Coming into this next section is Force Fizzy, going to have the better brakes than Nemesis Online Racing League. It certainly looks on that occasion, but just like he did on lap 1, Valerio Campagnari gets the job done in that brilliant corner. As we can see, quite a train we ride on board with Callum Spencer, very high in the championship but low on the grid, like we mentioned in qualifying. Really not a great day. In the office there was contact back there. The contact back there somewhere. I couldn't quite see which ones, but that's Ross McFarlane going up the inside of Callum Spencer, who gets him back. May have been a little contact involved in that, but we can see multiple cars going side by side on the run to the chicane. We can see the Yulon Motor Racing and Isle of Base car ahead, going side by side as we reach into the hairpin. We can see who's going to be able to make the move, as in Rhinus Melngalis gets a little bit squeezed down. Contact! Melngalis touched the wall, and there was touching the wall was Joshua Robert Wood, who loses the place to Douglas Anderson. Not sure if he was helped into the wall there, but there's certainly damage on the front of the Yulon Motor Racing car as well. So we look at this absolute darting going around, cars going side by side everywhere you look. And it's a pretty tough day in the office to be here alone because there's so much action to commentate on. But we take a look at our leading 2 once more, and we can see Danny Diaz is starting to apply a bit of pressure to his teammate up at the front as we go on to lap 3. It's the start of lap 3. We can see a little bit of pressure being applied by the Mexican onto the American. Then these two teammates in all respects, but Danny Diaz is probably the one more likely to compete for the championship this year. So if any team orders come into play, we will have to wait and see. We can look just slightly behind and we can see McBee coming a bit under pressure from Gareth Lennon, who's under pressure from Craig Evans. Craig Evans really doing a good return to form, as he's struggled everywhere other than Mendig. He has struggled so far this season, so he'll be glad to be finally bouncing back. As we can see, that is actually Craig Evans in the background going side by side with Gareth Lennon up the inside. He will go. Is Gareth Lennon going to be able to hold it up the inside? Oh, contact between the two, and a bit of door banging there, which momentarily allowed Craig Evans to get the move done. But as a result of Gareth Lennon just refusing to give it up, they made further contact, and that has allowed them to continue going side by side. As we go into the hairpin, is Craig Evans going to make the move on Gareth Lennon? Yes, he does, but he goes wide, and he touches the wall just like Joshua Robert Wood did just a lap ago, and he's going to lose positions hand over fist. He loses the position to Lennon, he loses the position to McAllister, and he loses the position to Paul. That's a costly mistake for Craig Evans. He just got on the accelerator a bit too quick and kind of forgot that these cars were front wheel drive. Oh, as we look, is that Colin McAllister going to have a look? And look at Stephen Paul trying to go all the way around the outside, which turns to the inside. Oh my goodness, what a spectacular move from Stephen Paul. Really seizing the opportunity there. What an outstanding manoeuvre from the American in the GTFG cars. We ride on board with Force Fizz. We can see Toby Byrne is that now going up the inside of Craig Evans. He's trying to make the best of a bad situation after Craig. And oh my god, the Force Fizz is going to throw it down the middle, and they make it free abreast in turn 2, and Toby Byrne comes off worse than that. Sorry, that was Evan Imre. I'm not sure who I mentioned it was, but it is Evan Imre who really got aggressive there and really shoved his nose in. Spectacular stuff here on lap 4 of 15. Things are really starting to heat up. These guys are doing an incredible job to be this aggressive and not cause any major incidents. You can see on the front the damage Craig Evans picked up from that brush with the wall. It's quite severe. His front headlight, and that's even more severe. That's had a trip to the barriers somewhere. Ines Melngalis is missing the better half of the whole front of his car. We're right on board, you can see the engine. But somehow it's not affecting him too badly as he tries to continue assaulting Callum Spencer. I'm not sure if he's lost a position to Spencer there or not, but he's going to try go down the inside. He may not have half the car, but he has half the bottle to try do it, and that allows Douglas Anderson to sense an opportunity. Douglas Anderson really bided his time there, and that was an absolute monster of an opportunity. It presented itself to Anderson, and he really did come in and take that. He's going to try and go around the outside now. We go side by side, and Melngalis goes wide. Just gets away with it. I think he kissed the wall, but I don't think he clouted it as half as whatever he's clouted to lose the better front half of his car. We ride on board with Danny Diaz, who is losing touch to his teammate despite applying a metaphorical blowtorch of pressure to his teammate the lap before. So unfortunately for him, he's lost a bit of ground. As we turn the action down a little bit, I can kind of catch my breath just a little bit here. We watch Colin McAllister fighting with Stephen Paul, but what a move Stephen Paul made. Really opportunistic stuff. You know, all the way around the outside into the first part of the chicane, and then up the inside for the second part. That was that was a beautiful move, and arguably a contender for move of the season. That was an definitely move of the race, but you know, it could very well be move of the season as well. It was an absolute astonishing move, really, and really good stuff considering these guys are, of course, AI, but wow. Automobilista and Stephen Paul in unison, really trying to prove their point that we are the best AI. You know, we've had discussions many a time comparing the different AIs in games, but Automobilistas come on the scene, and you can see how hard they are trying to prove they are the bar. I think Automobilista now is very much in a position where it is the bar of AI performance, and that's why the ISR AIC formed up with Automobilista to come and take the challenge, take the championship here. And here we go. I think I just did see cars going side by side. Yes, you can see that's Byrne, who's coming under pressure from Campagnari, who hits the wall on the exit. A lot of the cars doing that. Must be very easy to do. But Byrne gets the position back, and that has unfortunately cost Campagnari a position to Pettersson as well. But the ISR driver of Byrne is still under quite a bit of pressure then, but this time it's from the Swedish NORL driver of Christopher Pettersson, who's looking for an opportunity. Is he going to be able to go up the inside into the final chicane? No, thinks better of it, obviously. He won't have much better brakes than Byrne, if any better at all. So it has to be very careful. Of course, if Byrne brakes right on the limit, he should be good for that corner. But will he be good going into turn one? We look at Pedersen sizing him up, looking for an opportunity. We ride on this lovely helicopter cam we've seen so many times this season, and we can see Pedersen closing, really close stuff that actually cost him. He got so close and had to back out of it. That's cost him a bit of time to his teammate Campagnari. Is Campagnari going to be able to go back past as a result of that? I don't think he is. Just coming to turn 3 and 4. No, he will not get him back on that occasion then. So the two NORL drivers line of stern trying to attack ISR. More further battle of leagues. We mentioned in pre-season discussions that there is 3 teams sponsored heavily by leagues. Obviously there's Team ISR, which is the hosts of this league, and then we have the Team NORL, and we have Team AOR. And a common fact, ISR competing in all 3 of those leagues. So they have a team in ISR, obviously, a team in NORL, and a team in AOR. So great stuff from the ISR guys to get global with the competitions, but this is where it all comes home, really. So a bit of pride in it for Byrne as he tries to keep the Italian league drivers behind him, and the Italian league, of course. But you know, there's an Italian driver and a Swedish driver. Not to shun out Christopher Pettersson's nationality then. So as we're looking at this little train on lap 6 then, we can see that a lot of drivers have hit the wall coming out of the hairpin, which is quite an interesting thing. I wonder why that's happening. You know, a lot of drivers seem to be just understeering pretty bad. I mean, these cars are front wheel drive, and you know, coming out of the corners is proving to be quite difficult for these guys. We mentioned, of course, Craig Evans races here quite often in a Kia car, which is obviously very different to Soroka car. We look at Douglas Anderson trying to attack on Callum Spencer now then. Let's have a look if he's going to be able to do anything into turn 1. We cross the start-finish line. We're looking for the 100-metre board on the right-hand side, and that's where we brake. Just before the 100-metre board was the braking point for Callum Spencer then, as we come into turn 1 and 2. Quite a big train forming behind Joshua Robert Wood. Joshua Robert Wood, of course, claims that he's been held up in previous races by the guy ahead, and that prevented his progress. But it looks on this occasion that Joshua Robert Wood is the reason for holding these guys up. So who have we got behind him? We got Wood, followed by Foggy, followed by Andrew Pavia, and then Ross McFarlane, and I believe that'll be Nut Martinson. I'm not quite sure. Can't quite see the number on that Force Fizzy, but I believe it may be... Yes, it is. It's Nut Martinson, number 62. Following this train created by Joshua Robert Wood then. And speaking of Joshua's, Joshua Martin is closing in on the party as well. Mel Gaines has been in the pits. You could see the front end of his car has kind of been repaired. They haven't put a new bonnet on it, but they've put a new front bumper on. So obviously the lack of downforce and, you know, all the bits and bobs that are included in that section got a bit too much for him, or a bit too much for the car, and it needed to be repaired to continue. We believe that is the story on that one then. Lap 7 then, we're just about halfway, coming through the hairpin once more. We got a big old train to do it with this time, and oh my goodness, who is that? There's another car, a Yulon Motor Racing car just ahead. It's Douglas Anderson. He was attacking Callum Spencer the lap before, and Douglas Anderson has lost the better half of his car, as we saw Campagnari getting very close to his teammate there, trying to make a move. But wow, another driver has become a victim, and we believe, I believe anyway, that it is the wall that they keep clipping when they try to get on the throttle just a bit too early out of the hairpin. The clipping that wall is very easy to do if you arrive on the brakes a bit too late, a bit too hot. It's very easy to do, and I believe that is what's happened, and it's taken another victim of Douglas Anderson. So we'll have to see if Douglas is able to continue. Of course, we've had the likes of Reinhard Melgalis do it already, and have to pit as a result of it. So we'll have to see if Anderson is able to bear it out, because a pit stop is going to be very costly. You're looking at 25 to 30 seconds for a pit stop to get that all repaired. That's not including your time in the pit lane. You know, that is you stationary. So you're looking at 25 to 30 seconds stationary. So very costly stuff here. We're looking at a Mackay and Brew sandwich right now. We have McBee and McAllister forming the bread, and Lennon and I believe that's Stephen Paul forming the meat and butter, if you like, of the sandwich, or whatever you prefer in your sandwiches. We will try our best not to get into a great sandwich discussion here at the Canadian round of the AIC, but yeah, Mackay and Brew sandwich right now. Now let's have a look at this train then. Is anyone going to be audacious? If anyone's going to be audacious, I would put my money strongly on saying it's going to be Stephen Paul. Stephen Paul with that outrageous manoeuvre on, of course, the Mackay and Brew driver. That is actually, we have a Mackay and Brew driver of Colin McAllister going up the inside of Stephen Paul. Contact between the two. Paul gets a bit sideways, but gets away with it. That's front right spritted, front left, front right. I can't quite see. The orientation's a bit weird. But that is splitter damage nonetheless for Colin McAllister on the front. So he tried the move, just got into the side of Paul and didn't really work out. We see Burns pulled away from the NORL drives a bit. I think that is because Campagnari is trying his utmost to get back past his teammate of Christopher Pettersson, who obviously got past him when Campagnari clipped the wall, like so many drivers have done. Campagnari very close to his teammate. And it looks right now that Campagnari's got the better pace, but it doesn't look like team orders are a thing in Team NORL. They're wanting to race, you know. The ownership is Italian, they're full of passion, just like Ferrari, and they want to race all the way to the end. So that is what these guys are trying to do. But is Campagnari going to be able to get back past his teammate without team orders here because of the problems he's had? And he's clipped the wall, of course, which lost him the position, but we've seen a lot more people take very, very big incidents, if you like, and very big damage from that wall. So he's kind of got away with it, but he'll still be wanting to get past his teammate, and he'll be still biting himself that he actually lost a position to the guys. You see the cars with the Italian crest next come into the hairpin. Then as we look a bit further down the field, we can see a GTFG car. Is this? We can see Douglas Anderson eventually had to pit then. 28.3 second stop then, 28.3 seconds stationary. You can just see how costly it really is as Douglas Anderson goes for the same idea. YMR have gone for the same idea as ISR have of repairing just the front splitter to get that under control. You can see the leaders in the background. That really shows how, side-by-side action coming out the pits. Douglas Anderson and Rainis Melngalis, the guys who've gone with the same repair options, who had the same incidents and the same damage. I'm going to go side-by-side into turn 3. Melngalis has the inside, squeezes him out a bit. Douglas Anderson gives him a little bit of a tap and squeezes him further up for good measure, but what a move. Good move from Douglas Anderson to get back past Rainis Melngalis. Good door-to-door action there as the battle out of the pits commenced. That was good stuff to catch that. See Nut Martinson, who's doing well as well, and he's had an incident with a wall, and he's had to come into pit as well, and he starts his lengthy stop. You'll continue to see his pit time down there in the bottom left as we take a look at our leaders who have been battling throughout this race. But there's been so much action, we couldn't keep an eye on them and the rest of the race at the same time. But it's still Zach Swader leading from Danny Diaz then, as the two guys are battling all the time, really trying to get past each other. These guys obviously are, and 25 seconds there for Nut Martinson, but these guys are trying to get one up on each other. But like I said earlier, Danny Diaz is higher up in the standings. If you was looking at it from a team orders perspective, you'd be wanting a Mr. Danny Diaz to be let through any minute now, but it's not looking likely, unfortunately, for Zach Swader, and well, no, very fortunately for Zach Swader, but unfortunately for Danny Diaz, he'll have to do it under the power of his own racing skill as he kind of looks to the inside, then pulls to the inside. Is Danny Diaz going to go down the inside for the lead of the race? No, he backs out of it. A bit more respect between teammates. We saw that incident earlier. We saw that move, a carbon copy, McAllister on pole, but these guys weren't teammates, obviously, and they came together and gave damage to one another. A bit more respect going on as these guys are fighting for the leaders' teammates. You want to keep the bosses happy, you know. The #1 golden rule in motorsport: do not crash into your teammates. So these guys are really adhering to that rule, and really good stuff for these guys to be racing out nice in the lead. It doesn't look like team orders are a thing, and that's really nice to see. We questioned it at Snetterton. It looked like Mackay and Brew had some form of team orders out at Snetterton last time. It looked like McBee pulled to the inside line and allowed McAllister to pass, and we think that was team orders given to those two. But it's nice to see at Montreal we've had no such instance of team orders, and we have both EQU cars battling and both NORL cars battling as well. Anyway, it doesn't appear like any team has given the order to let another driver through, so that's good stuff to see in terms of racing. It's really good, and but at for a strategic point Danny Diaz really needs to be capitalising, as his rivals kind of have a bit of a lacklustre race. The only rival for the championship that's really in a position to bring home big points as well is Gareth Lennon, as we see Gareth Lennon there getting followed by Stephen Paul, still in this Mackay and Bruce sandwich. That's got a bit rough at times, we've noticed. Evan Imre is slowly catching up, and that's McAllister trying to go for another move up the inside. He taps Paul, and now they're going to go side by side. McAllister didn't really get the drive. McAllister really getting impatient behind Stephen Paul and pulls back behind him. So he tried to make the move into the hairpin, but Colin McAllister unable to make the move. Bang doors. McAllister still trying his best to get his first points of the season, but he's really not playing it safe. He's wanting more all the time, as he's trying his best. And you can see why, because now he's got Evan Imre, a fellow Scotsman, behind him, and then we got another Scotsman of an Isle of Base driver, and then we've got Toby Byrne, all closing up on this big train, and then there's the two NORL boys. Lots of people are catching this train, and you can't quite tell, as that was McAllister pulling to the inside line to have a look once again, a bit too far back as we look through the NORL boys, and no! Colin McAllister, as a result of trying to make a move, has lost the position to Evan Imre. That is not what he wanted. Oh, that's a costly error for McAllister after trying so hard to get past Stephen Paul. All Evan Imre had to do was follow, wait for an opportunity like that, and pick up the pieces. Oh my goodness, that is horror show stuff for Colin McAllister. Like I said, he's on points for his he's on points for his first points this season, but unfortunately for him, he's not taking it easy. He's not just defending his position, he's going for more, and sometimes less is more, as he's lost the position to Evan Imre, who was just waiting for that opportunity to arise. And really good stuff by Evan Imre to get past these, as we watch the NORL boys still doing battle, very close stuff, bumper to bumper, and these guys are really trying. As we come up to the hairpin, is Valerio Campagnari going to size up a move? I almost said, is Valerio going to Campagnari? We might be able to make a new move here today. We can call it the Campagnari, and then we can say, is Valerio going to Campagnari his opponent? But no move to be named the Campagnari so far, as we come out of the hairpin on the run down to the final chicane. But these guys are still battling all the way, really close stuff. It's nice to see this battle hasn't been called off. Like I said, Italian, full of passion. I wouldn't expect anything less from these guys. So professional stuff from NORL, you can see on the front bumper there, NORL. And if you want to go join in the NORL leagues, you can always go take a look at nemesisonlineracing.wordpress, similar to the ISRonline.wordpress, where you can read all our great articles on that stuff. Of course, come and join NORL, come and join ISR, just get yourself in a bit of everything, get yourself, you know, a mixed temperature of league racing. It's great stuff, and it's really nice to see NORL doing such a strong effort to promote themselves with a really strong team here in the AIC. But you can see, not scoring any points yet, the NORL guys in this race, so they really need to be doing better in terms of what those guys will be aiming for. As we look back to the leaders, we can see Danny Diaz is still attacking Zach Swader, and it's getting closer lap by lap, and I believe just ahead of them, I think that's Josh Martin, and I think he has become another victim of the hairpin wall. And this is an interesting thing. We have the Wall of Champions here at Canada, but it's not the Wall of Champions claiming everyone. It's the wall out of the hairpin. So what do you want to call that? The Wall of front wheel drive? The Wall of AI? Or what? I don't know what you call that. As Danny Diaz gets very hot in on the brakes, very close to his teammate. These guys are going to be careful that they don't become a victim of the wall as well. But yeah, that's Josh Martin, who's dropped quite a few positions as he's had to pit after severe damage with that wall again. I think Josh Martin now running last, so unfortunately for him, but these are the leaders actually catching up to lap Josh Martin. So Josh Martin really needs to get a move on, or he needs to get out of the way. We do only have 2 laps left, as we see Danny Diaz very close once again. Gets very close under braking, but doesn't really have anywhere to go with it, because he tries to make a move, but of course they are teammates, and you got to put the team first. Something that we haven't seen in real motorsports quite a lot often, obviously. Recently, Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez put themselves first, rather than, I should say, Esteban Ocon put himself over the team in Baku, and obviously wiped both Force Indias out of contention. So pretty good stuff to see these guys are actually behaving themselves and putting the team first, as this is an amazing points haul for Team EQU. This could very much put them at the top of the table and actually get them quite a nice buffer to second place. So these guys working together for the benefit of the team. But Danny Diaz, you got to wonder, is something playing in the back of his mind? Is he getting a bit frustrated? Because Danny Diaz is very likely to gain many places in the championship table in terms of the championship battle. Obviously, like we said, the only guy really who's threatening to him right now is Gareth Lennon. Because Gareth Lennon is in 4th place, but you have the likes of Spencer outside of the points, Pettersson outside of the points. You know, his title rivals around him are having a miserable day. So Danny Diaz could really capitalise if he could get a win here today. But he's got to fight his teammate, the more experienced Zach Swader. A lot more experience on Zach Swader's shoulders than there is Danny Diaz. Zach Swader is an ISR veteran. He has competed within ISR for many years, and he's still competing today in AIC, and he's trying to fight off the young blood of EQU. He's trying to prove that experience matters more than the new young hot gun, young blood stuff. As we come on to the final lap, he's got to defend for one final lap. Can Zach Swader do it as Danny Diaz looks to the outside now? Looks for a way past, but he's going to tuck back in behind, and it's kind of like an under pressure situation here. Can he force his teammate into a mistake? As we look a bit further down the field, we can see Gareth Lennon coming under a bit of pressure from Evan Imre as he's lost pace with Charles McBee. So he's lost pace with Charles, and he's coming under threat from Evan Imre, who's really on a charge right now. And we can see that's Toby Byrne ahead of Colin McAllister. I believe those two have swapped positions. We have side-by-side action going on here. This is Callum Spencer and Joshua Robert Wood about to go side-by-side into turn 1. Joshua Robert Wood, and that is a Northern Lights racing car trying to make it free wide. And is that Joshua Robert Wood through? He is temporarily, but now he's going to go side-by-side through turn 2. Callum Spencer gets the move back, which has allowed the Northern Lights racing driver of Nickel Foggy to go up the inside, and a real opportunity seized there by Nickel Foggy. Really good stuff, and that is the problem with overtaking half the time. If you can try and make the move, but if it doesn't work out, you're going to lose a position rather than make one. So unfortunate for Joshua Robert Wood to lose that position then, as that is Ross McFarlane getting really impatient behind Joshua Robert Wood. But now Joshua Robert Wood has actually got the opportunity to go side by side with Foggy once more, because Foggy got held up a bit by Callum Spencer getting a little bit out of shape into that corner, which almost cost Nickel Foggy and really gave Joshua Robert Wood the opportunity to get his position back. But unfortunately for Joshua Robert Wood, Nickel Foggy was able to defend like an absolute champ. We said he has a lot of experience in touring cars and stuff of this nature. So, and that was Danny Diaz trying to make a last-minute move into the final chicane, but unfortunately for him, it didn't work out, and that means that Zach Swader is gonna come home and take the win here in Montreal, and that is the first ever 1-2 for a team we have seen in the AIC. Absolutely incredible stuff then from Team EQU to really come and bring all guns blazing here, and really good job by Zach Swader to hold off the young blood of Danny Diaz. Danny Diaz, wow, he tried to make the move on the very last corner. That was true young blood stuff going on there. That was incredible. As we look back down at the Nemesis Online Racing boys, Campagnari looks like he lost that battle to his, we see cars coming across the line. That was Yulon Rotor Racing trying to get back, but didn't really work, unfortunately for them. We still do have battles happening around the track though, and although these guys have finished, we still have a race going on somewhere, as I think our cameraman frantically finds that. There we go, it's Ryan Melgalis versus Nut Martinson there. So this is the battle of the repairs, really, because you can see Douglas Anderson, who had to pit for repairs, just ahead of them, and in the background you can see Joshua Martin, who had to pit for repairs as well. So battle of the repairs, we come into the hairpin one final time. That is the wall that put them in the position where they are as we run down to the final chicane. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Melgalis? Is it going to be Martinson? We will find out on the run to the line. Martinson's going to get quite a nice slipstream, but we've found out already many times this season, slipstream not really effective in these type of cars. It's more effective in open wheel type of cars. As we come into the final braking zone, final chicane, it looks like, unless there's any drama, it looks like Ryan Melgalis is going to hold off Nut Martinson. ISR ahead of Force Fizzy then as we come across the line. A real shame for these guys to be taken out by the wall and end up there. So let's take a look at the race results. Of course, Zach Swader takes the win from his Youngblood teammate and obviously takes the pole position point as well. Charles McBee, a return to the podium for him, and Gareth Lennon can't be too disappointed with the result he has today. Obviously, that's a decent points haul, and he's the only real title contender against Danny Diaz to do that. We have Evan Imre behind them, who looked really fast towards the end, and we have the likes of Colin McAllister scoring his first points of the day just down there as well. So really, really good stuff by those guys to be pushing really hard all the way until the end. And then as we look a bit further down the field, we can see Toby Byrne ahead of Christopher Pettersson. So Pettersson scored 2 points for NMR in the end. Oh, and Valerio lost the position on the final lap to Craig Evans for that final point. Valerio will be kicking himself. That would have been his first point of the season. That is a real shame. When we look at Callum Spencer then, getting no points on the second page with Nickel Foggy, Joshua Robwood, Ross McFarlane, Andrew Fiat, Douglas Anderson, Ryan Ismail-Galis, Nut Martinson, and coming last was Josh Martin. So as we look at the driver standings then, we can see Danny Diaz then does take the lead of the championship and gives himself a 7-point buffer to Nemesis Online Racing League driver Christopher Pettersson in second. Gareth Lennon moves up 2 positions after doing himself some damage limitation today, but he's tied on points for third place with Zach Swader, who does a really good job at gaining some points today after his win. And we can see Callum Spencer drops 3 places, Josh Wood drops 3 places, Stephen Paul remains where he is on 28 points, Charles McBee makes some places after his return to the podium. We have the likes of Martin Melganis behind him, both losing positions. Evan Imre gaining positions, Andrew Bivia losing them, Toby Byrne gaining them, and then we have Martinson, Anderson, Evans, Colin McAllister getting his first points of the season, and Nickel Foggy there as well, and Ross McFarlane and Valerio Campagnari are yet the only 2 left to score points this season. We mentioned it was a very, very good points haul for Teemu QU, and it is because they are now at the top of the standings with a 14-point buffer to Rothman's SLR, who had the 12 points gained from Gareth Lennon. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough for them to maintain their lead, and we have GTFG losing place as well because of the whole situation going on there. Nemesis Online Racing maintain their position, don't really go anywhere, but Mackay and Brew have a very good day in the office, gaining 4 positions in the championship at the expense of ISR, YMI and NLR, and we have Force Fizzy splitting them, who've had a pretty decent day as well, thanks to Evan Imre getting them some positions, and Nyla Base bring up the rear. So guys, that was an absolutely astonishing race. Like I said, a very hard race to be a solo in the office, but hopefully next time we'll have someone alongside me to kind of break up my speech and give me a break from the action, because wow, that was not short on action, and it was a really good race. Really good job from EQU, really good job from Zach Swader, the first team to take a 1-2 in the history of AIC, so well done to them guys, congratulations. I'll be seeing you at the after party if you like. I hope I'm invited. Anyway guys, next time out we will be visiting UK once again, but this time we'll be at Donington Circuit, and I can't wait. Donington always throws up a good little scrap fest, and I cannot wait to see what it can give our AI drivers. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and until Donington, goodbye.